This place is really weird. If you can see some of it, I'm gonna get off and take some video. So crazy, man. This place is just bonkers to me. See, it's this crazy huge, like the sand goes way up over there. I mean, it had to have been like a huge tsunami or something. I mean, just ages ago. I mean, there's trees growing here. It's crazy, but people come out with like dune buggies and stuff and just romp around in here. Really interesting. Got some nice wide open countryside before we hit the mountains. Or this one mountain. It's that one hill I just passed was pretty big, but I know going up over it into Pacific City, there's still that whole ridge right in front of us that I have to go up and over. So it's gonna be pretty nuts, I think, but I'm not too worried about it. Hey, look, I'm gonna pass somebody. Come on, go, fool. Yeah, that'll probably be the only time that happens unless I pass another bike. Oh man, yeah, you can see the hill looming in the distance. And maybe if you can see that rock over there that's jutting out, that's Cape Kiwanda. Or it's some rock, I don't remember what rock it's called, but that's outside of Cape Kiwanda. So yeah, Pacific City / Cape Kiwanda is just over this hill. Pretty sweet. I'll leave the camera on as I'm going up the hill, see if it becomes a challenge or not. Might as well record that. Might be able to see the coast at times over on my right. I'll try to turn right here. Yeah. The beach. Let's see. What gear do I want to be in? Nice. Yeah, this isn't bad actually. I just dropped down into the middle gear in the front. My derailleurs are all sorts of weird. They don't, like 3 gears in the back work. That's what you get for using like the cheap stuff, but whatever. I only need a few gears anyway, so I need a super hill gear, I need a hill gear, and I need a regular gear. Stop gear, obviously. So, yeah, this is nothing. I don't know why I thought this was bigger. Hope I'm not shooting myself in the foot already and that like it comes over the bend and there's something huge, but I don't think so. I think we're at the top already. Yeah, that was easy. Nice one. Yeah, there we go. 3 miles to Pacific City. So I'll turn it off and turn it back on when I get there. Rolling into Pacific City. Now time to find some lunch. Lunch and power. That's the plan. Lunch and power. Not too many people here at the beach. Coffee shop. Is that open? Looks like it. Yeah, it is. Start with some coffee. The black bunnies. I always see these bunnies outside of Cape Kiwanda. Now there's 2 just chilling right here next to this hotel. Nice. Right, so
Found this cool little river spot while I'm letting my bike charge in Pacific City. Don't know if there's anybody still down here. Doesn't seem like it, but some idiot left their fire still going. This is a beautiful little spot. I've got about 2 hours for my battery to top off, or maybe an hour and a half, something like that. So yeah, the coast is actually just over this hill, but this is nice and quiet, so I figured I'd make a quick little video. Once I get to Devil's Lake tonight, then I'll do a gear run through, or maybe when I get back. I haven't decided yet, just depends. I'm kind of testing a couple things out, so I'll let you know. I'm all charged up. I'm headed south to Devil's Lake. I'll probably show a picture of where I charged at. A little sketch, but it worked. It was actually pretty cozy, just nice and quiet. So this is going to be my most difficult leg of my journey, both here and back. I got to do it twice, obviously, because it is 21 miles, 1,300 feet of elevation gain and descent, ascent and descent. So that's going to be pretty brutal, I would think. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been down this way, so it's kind of cool to do it for my first time by a bike. So anyway, I think it's really cool. This is a highway. This is a, this is like a major coastal highway, or I guess it's a smaller coastal highway. I haven't got to 101 yet, but it's cool. It has a bike lane. I think that's pretty awesome. I appreciate it for sure. Got onto the 101. We got this whole like shoulder here as well for like bike. This is like considered the Oregon bike route, the Northwest Oregon bike route, which is cool. So I'm hoping actually that there's a bike lane the whole way. That'd be awesome. I just had a motorcyclist give me the like low down peace sign. So I was pretty happy about that. I like the two-wheeled life. I used to have a motorcycle or a couple of motorcycles, and I loved riding. There's, some serious benefits to e-biking. Not in this case, because it doesn't really matter that much because there's not any traffic, but in a situation where there's traffic, having a bike lane, it makes all the difference in the world, Like right now, this is my own road, and every other biker, but still, Yeah, but all two-wheeled life is what I say. I'll still give the wave and the peace sign to motorcycle riders too, because that's the way I feel about it. All right, anyway, back to the ranch. So I just realized that I forgot twice now to restart my trip odometer. So I could keep track of my miles and stuff, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave the trip going for the whole trip, actually. That way I can get a really, really accurate readout of how many watt hours I'm using and everything else, because I know I can get to every single destination on one charge for sure. So I guess I'm not really worried about range because I have a battery meter anyway. So yeah, so I've gone 39.8 miles so far. Used 21.6 amp hours. And my average watt hours per mile is 29.1, which is great. It was kind of holding at 29.5, and then I went up that huge hill, and then it went up to 32, I think. Now it's back down to 29, so I would assume, especially on the 101 right now, I'm gonna get great watt hours per mile, so I'll keep you posted. So I just actually turned off of the route that Google Maps had told me, because it said that this was like the bike, like coastal bike road. It looked like the hill and stuff got really narrow. So
I kind of rerouted myself, and it looks like it's about like 4 to 5 miles more to go this way, but it's totally worth it to me. I'd rather just go on a chill road and not worry about being close to traffic on the 101. So, and it doesn't look like I'm going up and over that big ass hill right there too. So hopefully I avoid some of the elevation change. Yeah, man, I'm so glad I took this road instead. Like the paving is horrible. But yeah, there's like nobody on the road, so it's so quiet and chill and really beautiful. I just passed this bridge, or I went across this bridge that was like going over the river that I was next to, and I forgot to hit the button to record. And I was like, oh, should I ride back down and film it again? And I'm like, no. This is kind of a good opportunity to talk about some of the things I was going to talk about on this ride. One of them is, you know, being that I've gone 20,000 miles, you know, I've gone, what, 51 miles on this trip? I mean, in context, that's nothing, you know? Like, I really do honestly do that on a almost daily basis. It's just I'm not going, you know, one way, trying to find power and like campsites and stuff like that. But I feel that I'm super prepared. So what I mean is, like, if someone is new to biking, taking going bikepacking is a whole different experience, because, you know, you're not used to biking. Your muscles aren't developed yet for riding. I mean, when I got my first bike, so this is my second bike, same kit, different bike. Anyway, well, same motor anyway. My first bike had SLA batteries when I bought it, and I swapped them for LiPo batteries. That was the first thing I did. And man, I wanted to have 52 volts because 48 volts or 44 volts wasn't enough for me. So I bumped up to 52 from 44, because when you're using LiPos, you can't really make 48 volts. It's not cheap to do that, or it's not the cheapest option. The cheapest option is 44.4 or 44.1, whatever it is. You know, 6S batteries, making a 12S, and then you can add two 2S batteries to it. Two 6S batteries and a 2S battery is 14S, right? And then you just create as many parallel channels, or, you know, parallel cells from there. So I had a 14S 3P battery system, and that was what I was using to commute, which is great. Like, LiPos are awesome, except, man, doing that on a daily basis, having to, you know, charge them, and the fact that I was using 6S and 2S batteries, I was just spending so much time, like, you know, charging the 6S batteries and then unplugging them, and then charging the 2S batteries and then unplugging them, and then plugging them all together and then putting it in the bike and passing it all down. And then I gotta take my power supply with me, and then I gotta take my charger with me, and I gotta take my parallel charging board, and a whole bunch of, like, you know, cables to connect them all together, and it just gets really tedious over time. And I know a lot of people create, like, battery management systems for their LiPos, and I don't know. I wanted something simple, something when you're commuting, you want something really easy, you know. And I had some solder connections break on me, which of course is, you know, my fault. That was just me not being out of practice, I should say. But the other thing was just, having to carry all that crap with me. And it's like that each thing you have with you is one more link in the chain that can break, you know? All of the cables, all of the connectors. I mean, I fried so many parallel charging boards because of plugging them in wrong, you know? Like, you think you wouldn't do that, but it is so easy to do it. I swear, anybody that has LiPo, ask them how many parallel charging boards they have fried, and I guarantee it's a lot. So, yeah, so it's just like so many different things can stop you from moving forward. So, you know, that's why I didn't build my own battery. I just bought a battery. I bought a battery from Lunicycle the first time, which is great. It's a 17 amp hour, but they didn't have I think the biggest they offered was like a 26 amp hour. For more money than what I got mine for. So I got mine at EM3 EV, and it's a 30.6 amp hour. Oh, this is a cool little spot. Little loop-de-doo. So yeah, 30.6, and it's the newest Samsung 33Rs. There's some weird, like, super cool name for them or something like that they made, but they do get warmer than most batteries do, but I have so many batteries in this pack because it's at 30.6 amp hours. It's a 14S 9P. It's 1560 watt hours. I didn't straight connect the XLR cable for charging, but I did put a Anderson connector there. And that's so that I can use my other battery if I want to, which I almost brought with me. And that kind of ties into what I'm talking about, and that is, you know, being prepared and knowing what you need to bring. Like, I ended up taking the afternoon bus out from Tillamook, or out to Tillamook, sorry. And I was planning on taking the 11 something. And when I was all packed up, and I was kind of running, like rushing. I was not really running late, but I didn't feel prepared, and I didn't know why. I mean, I knew based on time, it was going to be cutting it close, and that was part of it. But I left my house, and like my bag was like kind of like touching the back of my leg every time I pedaled, and the bike just felt really sluggish and really heavy, you know. And I was like, man, that's not how I want to do this trip, you know what I mean? I don't want to have all this crap with me, because what do I really need? I need water, I need battery, I need food, tent, sleeping bag, ground pad, charger. That's it. That's all I really need, and lights, you know, and camera to film stuff. So, and bike, obviously. So I shed about, 10 or 15 pounds off of what I was going to bring. I was going to, I think I already shared a little bit about that, but so, once I go through my, what I'm taking or what I took with me, and I think people are going to be surprised because I don't have any electrical stuff with me at all, right? There's pretty much nothing I could do anyway. I mean, it's not like I don't have a battery-powered soldering iron. If the XT90 connector on the battery breaks, then I'm obviously screwed. Grid Technologies does an excellent job. Their quality control is just top-notch, and I think EM3 EVs is the same. They know what they're doing. They know how to do it right. You look at an e-bike, and especially all these boutique e-bikes, they're just they're cheap bikes with cheap crap on them, and they're charging a premium, and you have like an 11 amp hour battery. Like, my bike is a cheap bike, but it's sturdy. I mean, 17,554.2 miles later, it's trucking along, carrying all the stuff with me. And yeah, and I updated some of the components, and the components I didn't, or don't matter. I thought long and hard about whether I wanted to when I was going to buy my battery, because when you're switching, when you're choosing your setup, you really need to like kind of think about it all as one package, right? And think about upgradability, future-proofing, what's the cost of replacing parts, stuff like that, you know? Like, to me, it's stupid. Like, if let's say you bought a bike from a shop and it's a brand and something goes wrong, like it's a throttle or a switch or a controller or even just the components that they use, you might not be able to find anywhere. Or imagine if you're using a $3,500 mountain bike as your basis, right? Which means you're gonna probably have around 6.5, 7 into your bike when you're all said and done. I mean, are you gonna park your $7,000 dual suspension downhill monster outside of the convenience store? No. So that was mainly why I didn't switch to dual suspension, because my first bike was a dual suspension, and it was a cheap one though, you know, not really a dual suspension, not like shocks, it was just like springs. And it's not the same at all. It worked good, but I mean, it was like squeaky and it wasn't very rigid, and this isn't really rigid either because it's steel, and steel kind of flexes, and I actually like that. It makes it kind of a more comfortable ride, but yeah, so I looked into a bunch of different steel bikes when I was building this, and then I was looking at dual suspension bikes, and honestly, you can't really get a dual suspension bike for under a decent one for under like $2,000. If you found it used, yeah, sure, but I mean, God, then you have to like, I mean, replace all the suspension parts at some point, and I mean, it just, I don't know. To me, I don't see that making sense unless you plan on doing downhill stuff. Like if you're just using it as a commuter, I think dual suspension is way overkill. You just have to learn how to ride like riding a horse. Anyway, made my tangents. Well, what I mean is talking about preparedness and choosing what you're doing, like for your setup. Oh shit, where are we going now? Is this 101? Yep. Oh, that was a cool little jaunt. Hell yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's the same for like when you're choosing to go on this e-bike adventure, or if you're commuting every day, right? When I first started, I had a dual suspension bike. I had all this crap with me. I had LiPo batteries. I was wasting a ton of time just to make a cheap e-bike. I didn't spend much to build this one, but I really carefully chose, and a lot of it has to do with experience and just seeing what works and what doesn't. But I built this bike to be exactly what I want it to be. And now it's probably worth about, I would say, if you were to build this from scratch, panniers and all, like the whole bike system. Oh, it's a little ferret. Weird. Or a marmot. If you built it from scratch, it's like $2,500.
Right, so I made it to Lincoln City. So the Devil's Lake is in here somewhere, like a few miles away. So yeah, just stopped to take a breather, and gotta continue on. My action camera ran out of batteries as I was coming in, so figured I'd make a quick update of me coming into town, and then I'm gonna, I only have like 20% battery left in my phone, so I gotta use that to get to Devil's Lake. So I'll see when I get there. Hey, what's up guys? Today is Friday, April 20th, and I'm in Devil's Lake campground. I would walk over and show you the lake, but I don't want to get muddy. It's like a swamp here, to be honest. But yeah, I took a shower. They had a shower here, which is pretty cool. Yeah, campground's pretty small. This is like right outside of Lincoln City, and so there was quite a bit of traffic noise like up until late, and then you know, in the morning, which isn't a big deal. I didn't really care. I actually slept really good. But yeah, so it's a trail headed back behind me, you can see. So I'm gonna go get packed up. Today's plan is to go back up to Pacific City, get a full charge, head to Lookout and stay there again tonight. I think I really like that place. That was really nice. So I'm excited to get back there. I was thinking about going to Newport today, but I decided against it because that just adds almost 2 days to my trip, and I have to work on Tuesday. I just don't want to push it. You know what I mean? This is just for playing around. So yeah, but it's like 28 miles if I do that Oregon bike route back up to Pacific City. And I charged here. Luckily, the camp host, they let me like plug into their trailer for a little while, but man, it was slow going. I don't know what the amperage, because I didn't look, because I just plugged it in and left, and then came back like an hour and a half, a couple hours later, something like that. And it was, I'm at it's 54.7 volts. So it's roughly like maybe 75%. I'm gonna have to check my BMS, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully we'll make it. I'm gonna probably just take it easy, make sure I can get to Pacific City, get a full charge. Yeah, that's my plan. Hopefully, I mean, I looked at the map and it's like 1,200 feet in elevation gain and about 1,200 feet in descent. So yeah, I think it's gonna be close, but I'm gonna try it because might as well. It should be fine. I mean, I should have about 30 some miles, so, and that's if I was just cruising regularly. So I'll just drop it down a few miles an hour and hopefully make it, and we'll yeah, I guess you'll find out soon when I do. I did charge my camera back up, so I'll try to, or my other camera, that's my phone, but I did charge my other camera back up, so try to get some shots on the way back. All right, see you in a bit.